obviously serve a few more avenues or venues than Sorensen does. They do on-site interpreting, like I said before, and VRI. So this makes it even more accessible, and they have more options in the community than Sorensen, based in Milwaukee, does right now. Okay, so this is the philosophy of Sorensen, and this is just kind of a summary of, they have this huge long thing on their website. So this is just kind of a summary of what they were talking about on their website. So equal communication between deaf and hearing, preservation of deaf community and ASL, which is a huge thing, and best technology, customer service, and overall provision of services. So they are really, for the technology, they're really providing a lot of new advanced technology or things that the deaf community can access and can use to better be incorporated in the hearing world. Alright, and this is again a kind of a summarized version of what their philosophy is, because it was paragraphs long. So you can read this as you're in college.
The word deaf is not in there anywhere.
Well, maybe in the
in the
paragraph
dissertations. Okay,
yeah.
yeah. They're really different.
Yep.
I mean, that's interesting.
So I viewed this staff roles question a little differently than some of you guys did. You guys listed a lot of staff, but each agency, Purple and Sorensen, have so many interpreters that they have on their rosters, but really the important people in each of those buildings that you would most likely contact would be Leah and Peggy. So if you wanted to get in contact with either of those agencies, those are probably the people that you would get in contact with. But their roles in the buildings are obviously being highly qualified, teaming like I talked about before. Self-care is a huge one. Most of you got the experience of going into the Sorensen building and how they've literally set up the station so it's ergonomically efficient, yeah, for your body. So things can be adjusted if you're taller, if you're shorter. You don't have to be slouched all the time. So that's a huge thing, and also a self-care on how often or how long you're interpreting. Interpreting VRS all day is probably not advised because it's such a taxing thing to do, interpreting straight all day. So being aware of your limits and what you can and can't do is also a huge part of it. Continuing training is a big part of being an interpreter at these facilities. Since you are meeting people with such a wide variety from ASL all the way to English, you need to be on a constantly educating yourself because everything's always changing, signs are always changing, so training is obviously a huge thing. And that goes along with cultural competency, since you're seeing people from all over the United States, that you need to be aware of, oh, what do they use down here, or how do they talk over here, or whatever. So you just need to be aware of all of those differences. And something that Kate mentioned when I was talking to her about Sorensen, and this would probably go for Purple, would be
Kate me?
Kate me. Promoting a positive work environment. So a lot of the assignments or your interpreting assignments there are stressful, or it's just kind of a leave your stuff at the door, come in, do your job, and everything's hunky-dory in the building kind of a thing. So that's a huge one I thought for their goals.
Since we're talking about it, and Kate, I don't know if you've worked there, how often do you have a call that, because of the sign differences, that you struggle to understand, and I know you're experienced interpreter, so I'm sure it doesn't happen often, but
Oh no, I would say at least twice a shift.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Just from different states and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it can be anything. There is one woman out in the community, I've only seen her once, but if you talk to some of the regular interpreters, she's actually missing her nose.
Ooh.
So when she pops up on your screen, it's a little
Scary.
disconcerting, because there's just holes there.
Oh,
There's no nose, there's no nose.
No
but-
skin or nothing?
No, it's just the holes. So if you imagine,
Oh, I don't want.
What?
That being
Look at
turned
it,
off,
yeah.
just take a look.
it's literally, I don't know what is, if it was a birth defect or whatever. I mean, she's perfectly functional. She's actually a very nice lady. But when she pops up on your screen the first time, you're like, huh,
She
this
deaf?
lady has no nose.
Oh, that is deaf.
Sigh, fine.
So she's using yours?
Yeah.
I know, I missed if you were talking about interpreter or.
No, have worked with deafblind, which is a huge challenge in a 2D environment. We're actually starting, because we have Lisa Perry in the center, being able to pull her in. And that's a new thing that Sorensen is experimenting with, is the use of their deaf staff when they're in the centers. Not all centers have deaf staff. And not all deaf staff are trained as CDIs or have the language to even function as a CDI or a DI or whatever you want to call them. But we've actually, when she's there during the day, we can pull her in with moonlight.
Cool.
So have I, yeah, oh yeah, have I struggled? Oh yeah. Have people come up and I'm going, what the heck?
Just like that?
Yeah, sometimes I literally am like, right? You know, you get the puppy look, like,
Yeah.
huh? And that's when you call a team.
Alrighty.
So there. And I call a team a lot.
So what are they to Purple and Sorensen? So what are they to the deaf community, hearing community? Yeah, they're both. Okay. It allows the community to stay connected to each other. So they're not separate anymore. They can be connected and communicate with one another, which is a huge thing. And it, again, bridges the gap culturally between the two worlds. Some of the things that I've heard in the community about VRS and Sorensen and Purple, a lot of deaf people are, not a lot, but some people are really picky about who they get. So I'm sure everyone's heard a lot, like Leah's stories, like someone popped up and said, too fat, move on. So, like, they're very specific on what they want. Some people know. Or not being skilled or qualified enough. Like, I don't like what you're doing, no. So, those are probably the negative things that you hear about it, which is why I think having the training and knowing who you are as an interpreter and experience is a huge thing going into VRS work, because you meet people from all walks of life who will not say the nicest things to you. So you need to be kind of a strong person to work in VRS. But some of the nice things that they say, they're really grateful and they know how much they do, like, work hard for them and know how much time they put in, and there's that part of the deaf community that understands interpreters and understands, like, this is work and it's hard. So there's kind of like the positive and negative end of the spectrum for, I mean, pretty much everything that. So some of the